Hello and welcome to my review of the Necron Overlord from Games Workshop. This model will cost you £17 separately. I think he comes in 2 sprues and you get the base. Alternatively, he does come in the brand new Start Collecting Necrons box set for £50, which pretty much means that you're getting the Warriors, the Immortals and the Annihilation Barge for £33, which is insane. So this is definitely the best way to get him in that Start Collecting set. However, you know, you can buy him separately if you really wish to, but he's only got one pose. He is a main plastic monopose miniature, so if you have another one, he's going to look exactly the same unless you like change his arm holding the resurrection orb and you change the hilt of the staff to make it some kind of spear or something like that. Let's have a look at the model itself. Very easy, straightforward, quick to build. You'll have him built within an hour or so. It's not very taxing at all. I do like his, I want to call it like a Canoptek cloak, but it's not really. I do like that. I like all the iconography on him. It's got a decent looking kind of pose and face, holding up this orb that obviously you're going to be painting really nice sort of green with a light highlight too. Very nice looking miniature. Great to be leading your armies as like the main HQ choice. I do like this. I think it's like a war scythe, I think it's called. We'll get onto the rules and things. So yeah, very straightforward, simple model to make. No real issues. Not many mold lines. Nice big base. Yeah, it's just a great standard sort of HQ for the Necrons. So normally this is the part where I show you all the spare parts. There aren't any, so I'll go straight into the size comparisons. So hopefully this angle helps a bit more. So next to your typical Necron Immortals, as you can see there, he does tower above them, and because he's got his foot on the rock there. I'll probably bring that a bit closer to you. There you go. So he is going to stand head and shoulders above most of your Necron force, even when he's just on his 2 legs there, rather than, you know, on a barge or something. I want to compare him to the new Cryptek from the Forgebane box set. He is smaller than the Cryptek. Cryptek is sort of leaping about, and he's got his little chromatron, or whatever it's called. Height-wise, his size just beats the Cryptek, so technically he is taller, although he's not kind of like a bigger model. He doesn't have as much presence as this model on the 50mm base. With everything else that's going on. But I must say that both their cloaks are very, very fancy. As you can see, like the other Necrons, they don't have any cloaks, so only the big important models have a bit more bling. Next to a Wraith, this is just like one of the smaller Wraiths. Yeah, Wraiths are bigger and taller, but just goes to show you the sort of size difference there with those. Just want to show you him next to a Tech Priest. Tech Priest Dominus is a little bit taller. His axe sort of is taller and definitely more presence on the bigger base too. So if you were expanding your Necron army to get the Start Collecting set, at least that shows you, you know, the size compared to that. And then finally, next to like a Space Marine and a Primaris. A Space Marine almost gives him a run for his money. He's almost as tall as him, but the standard Space Marine is a fair bit shorter now than the Overlord. Overlord's very tall. You can just see from this image that the sizes are all over the place at the moment in the range, but there you go. I hope those size comparisons help. So now this is my part of the review where I'll just go through all of the rules for him. So you'll find him in your brand new 8th edition Necrons Codex. You'll find him in the HQ section under Overlord. There's no reason why you can't just use him as a Lord if you want to, you know, a little bit cheaper. However, with the Overlord, you're getting 1 more wound, the invulnerable save, and you can add 1 to advance charge and hit rolls for a unit. So, and he's got access to a void scythe as well. So for me, at least, I think it's worth it going for the Overlord, spending a bit more power points. Well, power points is 6 and the normal Lord is 5. For match play, you're talking of 11 points more for the Overlord. So I think that's worth it, the extra 11 points, just for that invulnerable save more than anything. That's why I'd always pick him as an Overlord. Although you don't get the Lord's Will, which is re-rolling wound rolls of a 1 for friendly infantry units within 6 inches of him. So I just think that there's more benefits of having him as an Overlord. Okay, so his stat line then. His movement is 5 inches, like a lot of things in Necron's Codex. Weapon skill, ballistic skill is 2+, and I forgot to mention that actually, that a Lord only has 3+ for weapon skill and ballistic skill, so that's another great factor that you'd pay your 11 points for. His strength is 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 10 and a save of 3+. It's a single model armed with a Staff of Light. You can replace the Staff of Light with a Void Scythe, a Hyperphase Sword, a Void Blade or a War Scythe. And the model may also take a Resurrection Orb, which this one's modelled to have the orb, although he might just be holding a snow globe, you never know. So weaponry, his default weapon, the Staff of Light, has a shooting or a melee profile. For shooting it's 12 inches, assault 3, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1, and melee it's a strength of the user which is 5, AP -2 and damage 1 again. However, you can exchange the Staff of Light with a Hyperphase Sword, which gives him a +1 strength, so that's strength 6. His AP increases to -3 and damage is still 1. Or a Void Blade, which is strength of the user, which is 5. AP is -3, damage 1, but each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with the weapon. The Void Scythe and the War Scythe. It really depends on if you want to subtract 1 from the hit roll and you want much more strength. So a Void Scythe will times the strength by 2. So you've got strength 10 there, AP -4, damage 3, and you subtract 1 from the hit roll. So that's pretty much a power fist, but it's strength 10 because his base strength is a 5 anyway. The War Scythe, however, is a strength +2, so that's strength 7, still not too shabby, AP -4, which is still amazing, and damage is 2. Personally, I'd go for the Void Scythe. Even though he's only got 3 attacks, he would be a nasty surprise to any kind of vehicle or high toughness unit on the battlefield. The only downside obviously is his movement. It's only got 5-inch movement, which is why you need some kind of transport option for him if you want to make good with that Void Scythe. His abilities, he has Living Metal, which we all know means that at the beginning of the turn the unit regains 1 lost wound. Just like that, just keep regaining the lost wounds at the beginning of each turn, which is great, which is another one of the reasons why I'd go for the Overlord having the 5 wounds base. Because if your opponent knocks off a couple of wounds, then, you know, a couple of turns later, you're back to full health again. The Resurrection Orb, you don't have to take this, but you can do. I personally would always take it. If the model has a Resurrection Orb, once per battle, immediately after you make your reanimation protocol rolls at the beginning of the turn, you can make reanimation protocols rolls for models from a friendly infantry unit within 3 inches of the model. So basically you make the reanimation protocols and then you have another go. It's very close range. You have to keep this model close to another unit if you want to use that. That's the only sort of downside of that one, and you can only use it once. It's a one-time thing, so whether you think it's worth the extra 35 points, which is a lot of points, to be fair, it's almost half the points of the Overlord himself, so it's a lot of points to sink into that just for something that can only be used once. If it revives 3 models or 4 models, then it's made its points cost up. Phase Shifter. The model has a 4+ invulnerable save. That's one of the main reasons why you get the Overlord. More wounds, better weapon skill, ballistic skill, and 50-50 chance with that invulnerable save. So very resilient. He's regaining 1 wound per turn, every turn. He's got a 3+ normal and a 4+ invulnerable. It's not too shabby. And his final ability is My Will Be Done. At the beginning of the turn, you choose a friendly infantry unit within 6 inches of the model. You add 1 to advance, charge and hit rolls for the unit until the beginning of your next turn. A unit can only be chosen as a target of this ability once in each turn. That's pretty good. Hit rolls, is that in the fight phase? Is it in the shooting phase? Interesting. I'd probably say that it is both, really. Advance, charge and hit rolls. Hit rolls, it could be shooting hits, it could be in the fight phase hits. It doesn't specifically say, so I'd use it for as many as I possibly could. So that is the Overlord's 40k 8th edition rules. I've compared him a little bit to the Lord. Of course, let's just compare him to the Cryptek. This guy here, the new model in the Forgebane kit. The Cryptek has a worse weapon skill and ballistic skill, worse strength, toughness and wounds. It only has 1 attack, and it has a worse save of a 4+. Furthermore, it's got a Staff of Light, which isn't the best. Yeah, it's strength 5, but it's short range, and also it's only -2 AP. Yes, it's got living metal, but you have to make a choice between either the Chronometron or a Canoptek Cloak, which is pretty poor in my opinion. Why can't you take both? The model's got both. I've already reviewed the Cryptek, so I won't go too much into his details, but basically, if you choose the Chronometron, you're getting a 5+ invulnerable save against ranged weapons only, and the Cloak allows him to fly about, and models regain D3 lost wounds instead of 1 from living metal. Personally, I think the Overlord is the much better choice. It's cool that the Cryptek can fly about at 10 inches, but then he's not getting his invulnerable save. I think the Overlord brings a bit more to the table, both in terms of his whole profile with a better stat line, and he's just more usable. Maybe not so much shooting. You know, if you give him that Void Scythe or War Scythe or whatever, then he's not really going to have anything ranged, but he's going to do pretty well in close combat and be very resilient, and also that Resurrection Orb may make a difference alongside my Will Be Done. He's going to be a great kind of counter-attacking unit for your shooting units as well, that are vulnerable to other enemy close combat focused units. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Overlord. A great HQ choice for the Necrons, decent in close combat, weak with ranged weaponry, but great that he's got a 4+ invulnerable save, and he can buff other units. Weaknesses obviously is the range, and keeping him close to other units, and also transporting him about. He may well be quite a bit of a target, and through weight of fire, that 3+ save is gonna strip quite a few wounds, although he has a few things that sort of help him out with that. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Necron's Overlord model and the rules? Please do put it in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. All hail the machine.